Death Battle Season 8 has come and gone, and while I'm working on the ranking video, let's talk about the predictions for Season 9. So the first one we have is Boba Fett, which I don't care about, but I see that this is the most debatable one on who he might fight. I'm hoping for Star Wolf because another Star Fox rep would be amazing, but it's probably going to be the Predator, which I'm actually still a little bit excited for because I like the Predator movies, and I think this is a good matchup for the Predator, even if I would like the meta. But either way, if it's the Predator or Star Fox, or not Star Fox, Star Wolf, I think it would be decent. I think it would be decent. But you know, it's Boba Fett. I don't care about that shit. Tanjiro! He's gonna fight Jonathan from JoJo. From the one part I've actually watched a decent amount of. I don't know, I'm excited. I'm excited. This is another JoJo character. I don't know, I don't have an attachment to these characters. I tried to watch Demon Slayer. I got bored. I tried to watch JoJo. I got bored. Yeah, that's kind of it. I'm a bit excited though. I feel like it would be pretty cool. I have heard that a lot of Tanjiro's moves are just animations, not actually there in canon. Like, they are just anime effects. They're not like real things happening. Which I just think is hilarious. Vegeta versus Thor is gonna happen this season. I wish it would be base, because that would be, you know, base. Tetsuo, the only one that I actually care about, because Akira is something I actually really want to watch. I'm not gonna say that I love it because I haven't seen it yet. But I'm excited because it seems like a really cool thing. Even if it's gonna be Magneto. Like, I don't really mind that one that much. But then you say that it could also be Mewtwo, and I'm like, yeah, I want to see Mewtwo. I love Mewtwo. I'm a guy who likes Pokemon. Please be... Yeah. Please be Mewtwo. I had to almost cough there for a second. Yeah, please be Mewtwo. I know it's not impossible for it to be Mewtwo, since that's also kind of a legacy matchup in a way. It's his other best opponent. I would love to see that. I would love to see Mewtwo get an actual good episode for once. At least, hopefully good episode. Please, please let it be Mewtwo. Scarlet Witch is probably going to fight Zatanna. I don't have an attachment to these characters, but from what I can remember, people are saying that the animation potential could be interesting. Or at least semi-interesting. So that's something to look forward to, I guess. Who else would have wanted the characters to fight? Just Scarlet Witch to fight? I don't know any other matchups. I don't even know Zatanna. Like, I saw a DC character, and Ethan pointed it out. It's not DC, it's Marvel. I don't know these things. I don't know these things. This is why I've been watching Justice League, so I can actually figure these fucking things out. I don't know. And the last character we have that's confirmed is Jinx from League of Legends, which I think is a pretty neat rep. I will admit, because I couldn't see what it was in the preview, and they just said Jinx from League of Legends, my brain thought, is that like the animal, like the hamster thingy? So my brain was like, does this mean we get a Paladins rep? We get a Pip from Paladins versus this guy? And then I found out that it's this bitch. And then I hear from Nemesis that one of her best matchups is a Skylander, Trigger Happy. I would like that to happen, and I think that's still possible because the whole theme of this season is that there's going to be a lot of, whoa, you didn't expect this character to get in because they don't translate well into Death Battle, but we're going to make them translate well into Death Battle. So, actually, that would make sense because, like, Jinx and Trigger Happy's games are relatively similar. They're both like top-down. They're both top-down beat-em-ups, basically. League of Legends not so much, but I feel like it would be more thematic for Trigger Happy to fight Jinx. It's gonna be Harley Quinn, but I am praying. I have the shred of hope now, because there's probably more connections there for Trigger Happy versus Jinx. Please, I would pop off for a Skylanders rep. I want Drogos versus Drobot more, but also that's one of my matchups, and those suck. Please be Trigger Happy. For the love of God, I would pop off, Nemesis would pop off, nobody else would pop off. Pop off, pop off, pop off. I'm gonna keep saying that word. Let's talk about some bonus things. So, I basically have a wish list and some of my own predictions that I think are possible. Not necessarily I think these are gonna happen, just ones I think are possible. Aside from one, I do think there's gonna be a Fire Emblem matchup this season, since the fabled Twitter post of Ben being like, "Oh, we haven't done a Fire Emblem character yet. What should we do for our first Fire Emblem matchup?" So, either Dimitri versus Guts, or whatever the fuck the Grovile matchup is for a Fire Emblem character. I would kind of like that, solely because I want to hear A Wish for Peace as a metal remix by Brandon. Because, you know, I'm a simp. Alex vs. Cold might happen this season. We all expected it to happen last season because it's one of the biggest matchups, at least one of the most popular matchups. But I think it could happen this season. I'm not 100% positive. I'm more like 70% sure it's gonna happen. But it does kind of follow more under the, I think this could happen, but I'm not sure that it's gonna happen. And, you know, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Okay, I actually had a dream last night. I'm putting this in now. I had a dream that Animaniacs is gonna be, like an Animaniacs matchup is gonna be the fucking premiere. I don't remember who it was against. All I remember is that I saw the Animaniacs after like a 30-second preview for the Prince of Egypt. But then I also had a dream right after where I was talking to Ben and Chad that there would be a Wings of Fire representation in Season 9. So either I'm going completely insane, or at least the Animaniacs thing is going to be true. I pray, because that means that I am having visions of the future. And I'm also going to cry, because that means that only half of my dreams were true. Alright, before we get into, like, the big, stupid ones that are probably really possible only in this season, I'm just gonna rapid fire go through a couple that I think, you know, aren't that far-fetched or don't really fit this season that much. Hiccup and Toothless versus Baymax, and I think Hero was the kid's name, and Scooby-Doo versus Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh, and Bill versus Discord. I think those could happen this season. I think those are, like, ones that are kind of big matchups that don't really fit the, oh, characters that wouldn't really fit Death Battle motif. So I kind of have them in my predictions, is there. Also, Adam versus Ant-Man might happen this season, or Kratos versus Drax, but I didn't put them on here because I ran out of matchups to put in, because it's going to be like a 16-episode season. I'm trying not to get too over 16. Alright, the big Sky, what the fuck is wrong with you matchups that could probably fit the season. The first one I have on here is a Danganronpa matchup, which I think is the most likely out of all of these, aside from one, because this means we would get a Monokuma matchup, and I don't think that's too far-fetched for Death Battle. I am praying that we get a Monokuma matchup, solely because that has so much potential. Like using executions. My brain is melting because I mentioned Danganronpa. I don't know who he would fight. Probably, I mean, I would like to see Monokuma versus Teddy, because we've only had one Persona rep. I think that'd be pretty fun. Even if I hate Teddy's voice, but, you know, I guess that's something they have in common. Lamau. FNAF! I know the only real matchup that's possible at the moment, or at least the one that would make most sense, is Glamrock Freddy versus Sully from Monsters, Inc. That seems to be one that's going around and getting really popular in the Yates server, Brandon Yates' server, which I think is fair. Because that one does have some connections that I don't fully understand or know yet, but from what I'm thinking, it seems like it would work and would fit the motif of this season perfectly. But also, I feel like there's gonna be a FNAF matchup that isn't that, solely because Security Breach just came out and they probably already have the season list ready. So, actually, maybe they already had a FNAF matchup and maybe they'll change it to that. Like, the only other thing I can think of is, like, Springtrap versus Junko, but which would also mean a Danganronpa matchup that isn't Monokuma. And I would prefer if they didn't do Danganronpa versus FNAF, because then one of the connections is probably them going to be saying, oh, both these franchises and their fan bases are cringe! And that's just not tasteful. That's just being assholes. So I'm hoping that it's like Springtrap versus someone else. I don't even know what the FNAF matchup would be, other than Glamrock Freddy versus Sully. That's the only one I can think of that makes sense and would work as a death battle. But as long as it's not Springtrap versus Junko, I'll be happy. Because I want an actual Monokuma fight. Okay, this one actually came to me while I was playing Minecraft and listening to a Wings of Fire book. Steve versus Terrarian is most definitely happening this season. It fits the motif perfectly. So, there's like, I'm 100% sure that it's going to happen this season, and I am excited as all hell. I don't care what people say. I think that matchup is funny, and it would work perfectly. I don't think an animation for it would be very good, but just the shock factor would be hilarious. It would be just like Steve and Smash all over again. But not as, well, I don't think the shock factor would last as long because it's Death Battle. And we all knew it was inevitable. We all knew it would happen one day. With Smash, we were like, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. This, we know it's gonna happen eventually. It's just like we're burying ourselves for it. We're planting our cleats in the winter storm for it. But also, I just want to see Terraria and Minecraft representation, because, you know, that'd be awesome. Even though the only other Terraria thing I can think of is a modded character versus Diablo. Specifically Yaron from Calamity, because that's on my fan-made Season 1 list. Because I am a little piece of shit who likes terrible matchups. Ethan's gonna be really happy about this one. Here's your Sans matchup. Here's Sans versus Judge. I think it's possible this season. Like, I think this is one of the ones that is, like, almost 100% going to happen. I'm not completely sure. I think they might save it for later. I don't know. But, I mean, an Undertale rep is kind of inevitable. And what better to do than Sans versus Judge? From a game that I have never played. I have it downloaded, but I have never played. I mean, there's also Frisk versus the Batter, but I don't know, I'd rather see this, because it has Sans, and I would love to see what they do, even though it would probably not be very good. We've seen Sans versus Ness, they're probably going to do that instead, actually. Well, fuck. And the last one I have here is Lloyd versus Tommy. You know, Ninjago rep would be awesome. I know there's better Lego matchups here, like, I forget the Emmett one, but I know that one is very popular. I just forget it because I'm an idiot. But I would rather see Lloyd solely because Ninjago is awesome, and it would probably work. And it would probably work in a more traditional, like, sprite style more than Emmett would. Like, I know stop motion would be cool, but I feel like if we got a Ninjago rep in, like, a sprite animation, you'd probably take the liberty of not having him be Lego, but at the same time, I wouldn't really care. I'd get to see one of my favorite franchises, one of my favorite cartoons in Death Battle. This would be awesome. I have nothing else to say. I just want a Ninjago rep, and I think this would be perfect. And also, I think it might actually happen this season. Yeah. And that's my predictions and season wish list for Season 9. There are some matchups I kind of want to mention here. Rapid Fire is ones I didn't want to put on here because I thought they were too far-fetched or just not going to happen. A Digimon matchup, Ori versus the Knight, Kratos versus Drax, Espio versus Greninja, and a Kame Ga Kill rep, Cinder versus Marceline, or any Crash or Spyro rep, Bendy versus Cuphead, and Rayquaza versus Ridley, or Bahamut, either one. I also know that a lot of people were expecting me to mention Zero versus Meta Knight, but I'm 100% sure that it's not going to happen this season. I'm sure it's going to happen in, like, Season 10, not Season 9. I don't think it's going to fit well in this season because of the motif and the other matchups that are going to happen. Still hoping for that Skylanders rep. But, anyways, have a nice day. I gotta work on the Season 8 ranking. Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye for the next, like, 4 months or whatever.